Hello and welcome to episode 19, part 3 of my Wurm Unlimited tutorial series. This is a continuation on the animal husbandry episode. I'm not sure how many more episodes it will be. There is still a lot of information to give, but this is going to be the concluding part, or there may be another part, so there might be a part 4, but we'll see as we go along. Okay, in this part of the animal husbandry episodes, I'm going to talk about traits. That's where we have been going all this time with breeding traits. All these animals that we have, that you see before you, even the cute little young grey rage over there, they aren't animals that we want to keep. The cows, we won't care about traits with the cows, because they're going to be just like meat for us to eat. So the cows are just, for food. So are the bulls once we get enough of them. Yes, there are certain traits which it is nice to have on our cows and bulls. There's a trait. Now, I'm not being rude, just to warn you, because I know that there is younger viewers watching my channel. I am not being rude, and I will never consciously be rude, not whilst recording a video. I am far too responsible for that. I won't go there. But for this trait, forgive me, it's just its name. There is a trait that's called tough bugger. So, let's say this bull has the trait of tough bugger, and yesterday you'd killed one of your other bulls off, which was just a normal bull. Today you've decided you want to kill this bull off that's got the trait tough bugger. That trait will mean that this creature is going to be stronger. So there's a chance that yesterday when you wiped the floor with that other creature, you killed it quickly and blah blah blah. Today you go to do the same and it actually wipes the floor with you instead. So it kills you. Because yes, that can happen. So be wary that some traits will make the creatures stronger. That being one of them. And there's other traits, ones which are bad traits, where the creatures will be more difficult to control. They will be, if I can put it this way, they'll be more moody, so they won't be inclined to like if I'm trying to breed them, they'll keep shying away. Or if it's, oh wow, this is, oh my brain, I'm starting to get a brain ache here, okay, give me a break. I'm starting to actually get a brain ache where I'm trying to get across the depth of breeding to you. So yes, we're on traits, that part of the breeding process. Okay, so even with cows and bulls, there are certain traits, bad and good. Because a tough bugger can actually be a very good trait for you. Because let's say, I'll give you an example. You jump on your horse and off you go into the wilderness doing some hunting. Because that's fantastic. If your horse has the tough bugger trait, then when you're fighting the creature, if the creature attacks your horse first, then the horse is going to join in with the fight. Oh, let's give you a much more interesting one, shall we? Much more interesting example. We're going to get to taming eventually, and one of the creatures you can tame is a crocodile. So just imagine, and you can ride crocodiles, okay? They are mounts in this game. So we've got ourselves a crocodile and we're riding him around the wilderness, trying to find a troll to kill. If our crocodile has the trait tough bugger, I pity that troll for attacking my croc, because with that trait as well, he's gonna be one tough crocodile. So there we go, there's the best example I can give you for that tough bugger trait. Okay, now let's get started with this episode on traits. Let's just check. Yeah, that's okay. That's all good. Right, so I'm just going to look at my notes because this is a lot of information. I want to make sure I give it in the right order and it all makes good sense to you. Okay, so traits. Here we go. There are bad traits and good traits. I've mentioned just a couple of them. A bad trait could be this creature's legs are of different length, meaning that it will move slower. So the trait is this creature has legs of different length. That basically equates to what that means to me and you is it will move slower. So if you have a horse and you're riding it, it's going to be slower. You don't want that because you want a fast horse. So that's an example of a bad trait. Now let's give you an example of a good trait. A good trait is, and this is what it's called, this creature is very strong and healthy. What that means to me and you, it means it will pull more weight with your cart. Remember, in the carts episode, we discussed, well, my favourite creature, my personal favourite, was a bison. If it has the trait, this creature is very strong and healthy, that is perfect. Because that means that once I've got all my 2 bisons traited up with that trait, pulling my cart, they're going to pull it. Not only can I load the cart up with more weight, they'll pull it more effectively. When I get onto wagons and 6 bison, I'll make sure all them bison have that good trait, because you want that when you're travelling around. You want to go as quick as you can. So let me just go on to my notes. Okay, so carrying on with this, creatures can have multiple traits and they can have a mixture of good and bad traits. Let's see, so yeah, covered that. I'll mention this again because it's included in the traits topic. If both parents have the same trait, there is more chance that the offspring will have that trait. So that's self-explanatory, but it's a very good thing to know if you want to specialise in breeding and getting a ranch full of good animals with top traits. Especially if you're moving into later on Wurm Online, you can start to make a lot of money with the information that I'm giving you. Okay, so moving on with traits. Inbreeding has a chance of bad traits. So that gets back to when I was talking about inbreeding earlier. So that's as you're more specialising your farm and your ranch, you will care about that greatly. So you won't want to inbreed. I've already told you how you can tell who the parents are of a creature, but here's something I didn't tell you, because I love doing that, I really do. I'll throw you out something and then later on I'll give you even more to it, just to show you the scope that this beautiful worm goes to. Okay, so I told you how to see who the parents were. But what I didn't tell you is, when a parent dies, okay, when you then examine that baby creature, so in my example, our little grey rage, when we examine him, if the father dies, because he's been nagged all his life, and so he'll get into the early grave. No, I'm only joking, sorry please, I'm purely joking. Okay, if the father dies, then poor little grey rage won't show. Let's show you with this, otherwise you're going to get confused. So, as you remember me earlier demonstrating, it says mother is aged fat horse, father is old fat horse. If old fat horse dies, the father, when I double click on this young grey rage, it will only show who the mother is. So it will only say mother is aged fat horse, because the father's deceased, he isn't alive anymore, so he won't appear anymore. If the mother died, the mother wouldn't appear, only the father would, providing the father is still alive, which is very doubtful because he's been nagged. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so here's something else. If both of the parents die, not only will they not be then listed here when you examine the creature, but also you can then breed that creature without worrying about inbreeding. So okay, here, let's make sense of that. Say I had to inbreed to get this creature. As long as both the parents have died, I can then breed this creature without worrying about the fact that it was created through inbreeding. It will drop, the game will lose that flag on inbreeding for this creature. So I can then happily go ahead and breed this young grey rage without fearing of inbreeding. Oh, I do hope that makes sense. But let's move on. I can't spend a half hour just talking about that. Okay, let me just check my notes. Let's see what I need to get across to you next. Yeah, so basically what I'm saying there, no, sorry, I do need to conclude that because it didn't actually make completely sense. When both the parents die, you can then breed the brother and sister. There you go. That was what I was trying to explain. I'm so glad I made notes. So glad. Let that be a good example to you all. So there we go. That now makes complete sense to you, I hope. Okay, moving on. Okay, now the animal husbandry skill, okay, here. The animal husbandry skill affects how many traits you can give a creature. For example, at skill level 80 plus, you can give a creature up to 8 traits. Oh, wow, how fantastic is that? You can do your ranch, your breeding, you can specialise in breeding, and you can get 8 good traits for your creature. Now let me tell you this, if you're playing Wurm Online, you are gonna make a lot of silver through selling creatures. You not only will make enough silver to pay for your subscription of playing Wurm Online, you are gonna be one rich person. You will be able to then go to other players and you will be able to buy a Knar off of them, which takes goodness me know how long to make, but that's another episode. I'm not going to go there, but you see what I'm saying. Or you can go to a weaponsmith and you can buy the most wonderful weapon with the most wonderful enchant on it, which we will get to, but you can buy all of that and you don't have to make it. You just, I tell you, Wurm is a beautiful game. You will see. So there we are. Let's carry on that in that vein. When your animal husbandry reaches 20, you can start to see other traits besides the colour. So obviously when you're looking at a creature, you see its colour automatically. But when you get to level 20, when the skill gets to 20, when this gets to 20.00, you will then start to see these beautiful traits I'm talking about. But of course, you're limited. You know, as your skill goes up, you can then get more traits. And also, as your skill goes up, you will be able to see more traits. When you inspect a creature, you will not be able to see all of the traits. Okay, you won't be able to see them. So, right, let's just see what else I need to mention. Yeah, so I've said that the higher your animal husbandry, the more traits you will see. So there we go. That's wrap that little bit of tidbit of information up nicely. Different animals can have different advantages with the traits. For example, horses can have different speed traits. Now in Wurm Online, I think I've mentioned this already, but I'm just going to recap quickly because there is a reason. In Wurm Online, you get people that breed them in ranches and they sell 5-speed horses, okay, and they make good money at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up Wurmpedia so I can read you a list of the traits specific to horses, okay? So bear with me just one moment. Okay, here is a list of speed related traits. These are traits that increase speed. It has fleeter movement than normal. This trait is known to create a small speed boost. So I'm reading this straight off the wonderful Wurmpedia. So that's the first trait. It has fleeter movement than normal. The next trait, it has lightning movement. This and their example for this is this causes a much higher speed boost. Then we have the next trait. It can carry more than average. And here's Wurmpedia's example. The rider's inventory will affect the horse's speed less. Here is the next trait. It has very strong leg muscles. Wurmpedia's example. Slopes affect the horse's less speed. So basically going up slopes, the horse will continue at a good speed. It will be affected less by the slope. Here's the next trait. It has a strong body. Wurmpedia's example, bonus to maintaining top speed. Okay, so there we are. Reading on Wurmpedia, some traits can decrease speed. So now I'm going to tell you a bad trait. So obviously when you start breeding seriously and dealing with traits, this is one you don't want. The legs are of different length. Wurmpedia's example, this causes a very severe speed penalty. Now I mentioned that bad trait to you earlier, but I didn't mention a very severe speed penalty. And I'm sorry, it's getting dark. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to finish off this episode. I'm not going to just stop just because it's getting dark. Forgive me for that. I did mention earlier that I would never do that, but this is happening just because I said that. So here we go. Let's carry on and get this finished. Okay, so that's what I wanted to mention from Wurmpedia. Let's now switch back, check my notes to see how we are doing. Oh yeah, right. So yeah, so in Wurm Online, people can charge extreme rates for 5-speed horses. That's the top speed that you can get to, as I've just gone through there. Okay, for a 5-speed horse, they're going to charge you top dollar because they've spent lots of time and energy doing this. Remember, you're in the beautiful Wurm Unlimited. It's going to take you no time at all to create a ranch full of 5-speed horses. Alright, a measure of time, but nowhere near the scale of Wurm Online. Okay, so yeah, 5-speed horse is the fastest you can get to with traits, and that's the 5 traits I just read to you off of Wurmpedia. But, and you have come to expect this from not only the beautiful Wurm, but also from me, that is the fact that we don't stop there. Oh no, we certainly do not. That may be the fastest you can get a horse to with traits, but you can further improve the speed of a horse with items. But guess what? That is another episode, and I'm not going there, but it's a very good one. Okay, so let's check. How are we doing for the precious time? Yep, we've still got time left. So let's see, decision. Shall I call it there? No, I'll carry on. We got 10 minutes. Okay, so that's traits concluded, talking about traits. We're now going to move on to... No, in fact, because some of you like short episodes, I'm going to respect that. I know I go to 30 minutes with others, but that's just because I want to try and finish talking about something in depth. This is a new topic within animal husbandry. I'm going to call it there. So, and it's shorter, so a lot of you will be happier. Okay, so thank you for joining me for this part of episode 19. Wherever you are in the world, God bless you and have a fantastic day. Goodbye.